is Max Access, where Mackenzie Barwell takes you closer to members of Forge FC off the pitch on the Forge Audio Network.
Hi everyone, and welcome to this episode of Max Access. I'm your host, Mackenzie Barwell, coming to you on April 24th, 2024. This past weekend, Forge FC matched up against York United for that 905 derby, but also the second matchup of the 2024 season, to which they took their second win. So of course we'll get into that, but I've also got a conversation planned with goalkeeper Chris Kalongo. He shared his perspective on the team's form right now, but also what it's been like stepping up in such a crucial way. Before we get into that, though, I do have a few videos that I want to share from the York game because, as I said last week, it didn't really feel like it was away because of the amount of Forge fans there. So here's what that experience looked like and sounded like. And if you're on audio, no worries, you can still kind of get the vibe based on listening. Definitely no shortage of orange in the stands. As I said, it was a fantastic time. Shout out to everyone who made the trip down in person. But don't worry if you weren't there, that won't be the last time that we do it. Okay, with that out of the way, let's get right into my conversation with the man who collected his second win and first clean sheet, Mr. Chris Kalongo. Okay, Chris, welcome back to the Audio Network. Thanks for coming on.
Hey, thanks for having me.
I feel like the last time we did this, it was with Seba for your little friendship.
Oh my gosh.
test.
Exactly. I still have people telling me about that to this day. One of my boys saw it the other day. He's like, bro, like, you guys didn't get anything right. I was like, oh.
What do you remember most about that one?
About that one?
Yeah.
I just remember how well I thought we were going to do. And then it just like started falling apart. Maybe that's good though, because doesn't that mean that like we're just so similar that like we just can't tell each other apart? We just do the same things?
Yeah. I mean,
Right?
like, I could tell it was so funny because whenever you guys would mess up a question, you'd, like, give the justification for it, and then you'd be like, oh, yeah, okay.
Exactly. See, we're on the same
Yeah.
page. It's just we're too much on the same
Yeah, if
page.
there's anything to take away from that, it is that you are on the same page.
Exactly.
We'll have to do, like, a rerun this season and see how it goes.
Oh, 100%. No, okay, we'll be prepared this time. I mean, maybe not prepared,
Okay.
you know, just naturally prepared,
Yeah,
naturally prepared.
I'll let Seba know.
Sounds good.
Hey, congratulations on your first clean sheet this past weekend.
Thank you so much.
How was the game from your perspective? Did you have friends and family there or anyone texting you afterwards?
Yeah, so no, my mom couldn't pull up for the game and my brothers, so just had people watching on TV, so that was nice. Obviously happy with the
Yeah.
performance, clean sheet, and I think just defensively as a unit, you know, we played really well. And so here's to keeping it going.
I'll circle back to that later. Obviously, that performance was one that'll stand out for you in your career overall. But I want to rewind to your CONCACAF performances because looking back at that, you were asked to step up in two very crucial games, having not recorded a ton of minutes in the 2023 season. So if you could kind of go back in time here and just reflect on what was going through your mind in that moment when you stepped onto the field to play Chivas, not only once but twice.
No, for me it was just an incredible experience, and I knew, especially, I think the biggest thing for me is that, like, obviously I didn't record a lot of minutes the last 2 years, so having an opportunity like this that I wasn't even sure I was gonna get to get on the field, for example, is just like, for me, it was like, wow, like, I didn't even think I was gonna get this, so I'm gonna take this and do whatever the hell I can with it. I gotta show myself because at this point I had nothing to lose, right? So I was really excited to have the opportunity to step in, and no, it wasn't as nerve-wracking as you think because I just tried to think of it as like this is my opportunity to show what I can do, and I'm gonna be tested and I'm gonna have stuff to do. So I was excited.
Yeah, that's a really great perspective to have, seeing it as an opportunity, not necessarily as a fight or flight kind of nerve-wracking experience. But as you said, you weren't necessarily sure and maybe couldn't have predicted that weeks prior. So how did you even prepare for that moment? Obviously, as you said, you've been with the team since 2022, so naturally your training would have contributed to that, but maybe also in terms of mentality.
Yeah, I think it's just I think it's just knowing that I've done everything I could to be prepared for the moment. I couldn't have done more training, couldn't have been. Maybe you could say, okay, I could have had more game experience, but I think going into it, I trust my ability and what I can do. So it was never hesitation or second thought of, oh, this might not go well. All I could think about was how well it could go. So, yeah.
Yeah. And also to your point about game experience, those are the factors that are out of your control. So when you think about everything that was within your control, you kind of took advantage of that.
Yeah, no, exactly. And that's one thing that I always like to look upon because at the end of the day, you can't really control a lot of things when it comes to the sport. And the only thing you can really control is the work you put in, week out, taking care of your body, and just mentally being ready to go into the net anytime. So I
Yeah.
think for me, this big thing for me, especially even last season, I think one of the biggest moments for me is uh, when I came into the Pacific game when we're up 2-1 and Tristan goes off injured and it's literally the 60th minute and there's still a ton of time left to play. But I think for me, I'm always ready to play and I'm never nervous. I could go in not warmed up, anything, and I feel like I can do a job. And so I think for that, that solidified my belief in myself because it was a tough situation, especially the game had stopped for an hour with Malcolm's injury. And
Yes.
so just knowing that at any time I can go and I can do my job, it felt really good to have that confidence going into the games coming up.
That's a really great point. I completely forgot about that. It would have gave you some confidence having that under your belt. You talk about, rising to the occasion in these high pressure situations. What do you think it is about you as a person and a player that allows you to stay so composed and, reassured in your abilities when it comes to moments like that?
I think for me, it's just I just don't doubt myself. I feel like I see every opportunity as a chance to showcase myself and showcase my abilities because I have belief in them, and I think that's probably the biggest thing. Because I feel like now, even if you look across the world, there's a lot of young players that are getting opportunities and stepping into them. And I think at the end of the day, it really just comes down to belief and being able to know that, yeah, I have the ability. As long as I play my game, I know that I can be good on the field and shine.
Yeah. And I'm assuming you had that mentality coming into the regular season. So obviously, I mentioned how these Chivas games were very high pressure, high level play. You have this insane opponent across the field from
Yeah.
you, and as difficult of a situation that was for you to have to step in for those games. In a way, I'm sure it set you up for success in this regular season. So how do you think that transition affected your game and your confidence?
No, 100%. After playing in front of that many people for those two games, like now everything seems like a cakewalk in terms of speaking to my defenders and like just overall uh atmosphere, everything's almost a little step down in a way, but I think this is the most I think as much as I think it's easy to get ready for games like that where it's like it's so much hype around it. It's you have so much energy going into it, but I think now what's really important for me is to just keep consistency and show that I can do what I did those games and these last two games on a week to week basis. So
Yeah, totally. And to your point about, there's so much hype around it, the anticipation for, those CONCACAF matches is not necessarily comparable to the regular season because you just finished up a game against York and now there's such a quick turnaround into this game against Valor. So this season in 2024, is that kind of your headspace in terms of the consistency piece? Like, what are the biggest values or things that you want to hold true or keep in mind going into these next couple months?
obviously, I've had a decent the last four games have been pretty decent, and I think I just want to keep my standards up and just stay consistent throughout because I feel like as a goalkeeper, like the biggest thing is consistency because if you're letting in one crazy goal one week but you're making crazy save next week,
Hmm.
it's not really great. You should just be keeping your performances at the same level and just try and, be solid for the team. And so obviously we have a good team, so just being stable back there so we can have our attackers and everyone else do what they do.
Hmm. You're decent. Can you give yourself a little bit more credit than that?
I haven't done anything yet. I still have a lot of stuff to do.
I will say I have to give you your flowers. I was watching this York game. We made the trip down on the fan bus, and there is a lot of chatter. This guy's impressing me. They're really under the impression, or they know that you are doing more than a decent enough job. So just hold that one. You don't have to completely
Thank you.
internalize it, but just know
Thank
that those
you.
are the words being said behind your back. You talked about as well, communicating with your defense and the role of the attackers, doing your job so that they can do theirs. But what has, your teammates' role, or how has, sorry, your teammates' role played into your success and development as a player? Because you've been training with these guys for the past 2 years, and then you're also, correct me if I'm wrong, had experience with Sigma, right? So
Hmm.
going through that pathway and having the competition that you do in training and now in games, how have you seen, or is there anyone in particular that has stood out to you in terms of your personal development?
I feel like definitely, I think definitely playing with these guys for so long, it's definitely given us chemistry that would be hard to come by if I was just coming in here as a new player. And so I know what a lot of guys are going to do. I think, especially with the ball at my feet, they have a lot of trust with me because obviously I've been doing this stuff in training for a long time now, even if I needed time to refine it. But no, it's been good. Definitely playing at Sigma helped a lot just in terms of being able to adapt to how we play here because obviously at Sigma I was given the role of kind of playing with my feet and doing a lot of things that I have to do when I'm playing up here now at Forge. And so that was a good experience for me. And
Mm-hmm.
yeah, no, so I'm happy with how everything's worked out.
Yeah, a similar playing style, I guess, makes that transition easier for sure. When
Mhm.
did you decide that you wanted to be the last man? When was the goalkeeping decision made? And respectfully, why?
So it started when I was playing, started playing rep soccer in Oakville, and I tried it as a player actually. So
Yeah. Okay. So I was gonna ask if you've ever played out, and you played rep as an outfield player.
yeah, so I played not very long until I was in the net, but I think I tried out for the rep team. I made it as like a striker or whatever when I was maybe nine or ten, and then
Okay. Okay.
I remember one training session I scored a goal, and then right after that I went in net for a little bit because I guess the guy wanted to switch out whoever was there, and I don't know. I loved it. I think also I grew really early. So I was already taller than everybody else. So I think the coaches were kind of trying to, they're like, oh, like what do you think? What do you think?
Yeah.
And I loved it. So next thing I knew, I'm telling my mom like I need to get goalie gloves. Like I'm going to be a goalie now. Like and then no, I loved it. And I
You're
don't like running, so
really.
not a big runner.
That's actually shocking. Well, I'm sure your mom was just thrilled that you wanted to be a goalkeeper. She was probably like,
She was not thrilled because, as you know, it can be quite nerve-wracking, especially for
"Oh
her.
my gosh.
I know she tells me every game, especially now, and now she's just watching. She's like,
Oh my goodness. I can't even imagine. Milty and I were just talking about this last week, being the parent of a goalkeeper. I'm sure she's grabbing her shirt by
exactly.
clenching her teeth.
Yeah, no, it's like it's probably one of those things where you're in the crowd, you hear people talking, and you're the one person. If you mess up, it's the biggest thing, right? So
It is. You're right. Like these mistakes are like the consequences of the mistakes from
yeah,
outfield
you
players might not
make
be
a
as
mistake,
obvious.
get in trouble right away. Yeah, no. So shout out to her for being very strong as a parent, right?
Totally. Chris, I want to circle back to the York game. You talked a little bit about being strong defensively, but can you just point out a few other things that you felt went right to allow this team to be so dominant and come away with a 3-0 win, especially as you approach your next home game against Valor on Saturday?
No, I feel like I think one of the biggest things is that we were set up really well in our rest defense. So if they had any points where they were trying to, where we had time where we were in their zone and moving the ball around and working it, and they were trying to get out, we could just keep them right in and keep going and attacking again. I think our build out was really clean. We had some great plays in the midfield where just simple 1-2s and we're breaking out of the zone and then we can transition to the attack. So that was really good. I think we have a lot of chemistry this year, especially with our attacking players, and so the movement's been amazing. I think we even could have got more goals, but I think right now we're playing very good, and hope it keeps going, right?
Yeah, you can absolutely see that chemistry, and it's super interesting to think about and see in front of your face because players like Benny are just, well, would have not even been here at this point last season, and you can see how much cohesiveness there is in this attack.
Yeah, no, exactly. It's no look passes, overlaps,
What
everything
is
just looks
up
like
with
it's clicking right now.
Yeah, seriously. What else can you say about the presence of the Forge community at York Lions Stadium? Because I heard a couple Chris Kalongo chants, and it was no secret that they were in the building yesterday.
Yeah, no, I think for a game so close, it's almost like a home game for us when we're there. Fans nice and loud, nice and present. We love to see it, and no, we definitely hear them.
Yeah, the 12th player, if you will, right?
I know, 100%.
Chris, I wouldn't be a Max Access episode if I didn't ask you just one get to know you question. And now that we're going to be seeing you a lot more this season, I have a feeling we need to know if there is a pregame routine / superstition. Please share.
So pregame routine. I think the biggest thing for me is maybe if it's a home game, go out to breakfast with moms, go for a nice little walk, listen to some
Okay.
music, and yeah, I think that's what I need to do to get in the frame of mind, right?
Like a breakfast, a brunch kind of thing?
Yeah, a little brunch, go out, get some breakfast,
Nice,
nice
dude.
little walk.
Is it the same thing every time? Like
I,
brunch wise? I'm thinking about pancakes and stuff right now.
oh, pancakes? No, 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 no.
Okay.
Maybe just some eggs, toast, a little
Yeah,
coffee.
whatever. Keep it healthy for the pod. Whatever.
Some I don't even know. I'm trying to think of healthy things
Vegetables,
off the top of my head. Oh,
protein.
of course, yes. Fruits, vegetables.
For
You
sure. Yeah,
know.
no, for sure. Chris, I really appreciate you coming on today, and congratulations on your, success thus far. I won't speak too soon. I know you, as you said, you've got a ways to go, but keep it up, and we look forward to seeing you play again this weekend.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
That is all I have for today's episode. Again, thank you so much to Chris for joining me. You can watch him again in action this weekend on Saturday. Forge FC will take on Valor 4 p.m. at home. So come on out and support. It's also Sparks' birthday, so there are going to be a ton of mascots there. And don't feel like you have to be under the age of 15 to celebrate, okay? I will be there celebrating, wishing him a happy birthday, and so can you. So feel free to come say hi to me in the South Plaza before the game starts. I love when fans do that. So Stipley Fan Zone, be there. Thank you all so much for listening, and I will be back to check in on the audio network next week.
Thanks for listening to Max Access on the Forge Audio Network. If you like what you heard, please like, follow, subscribe, comment, and share.
Enjoy the day tomorrow. Let's get back in. We've had a great week of training, a hard week of training. We get ourselves set. We got games coming up, Valor, then we get these guys back in the cup. All right, so relax tomorrow. Take care of yourselves, and let's get back into it. Well done today, guys.